soon-to-be grandfather. The Right Honorable Speaker of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic, the Right Honorable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin, Deputy Clerks, Coordinating Directors, Deputy Directors, journalists, members of the media, please, those of us at the back, come forward. We are doing a live production. And so I need all of you to come forward so that we can fill the front spaces. Shamzia, Nana Brinkra and Co. Atikwa, come forward so that we can fill the empty spaces. I've been saying this for the past 1 hour. So please, come forward. As you know, democracy is evolving. And when democracy evolves in any society, there is attendant free speech, which comes with different shades of opinions. And all kinds of activities happen in the course of an evolution of a society. Ours has been a very interesting 30 years. We've seen a lot of changes over the past 30 years in our parliament, and we've grown from strength to strength. We are already going on our 32nd year, and we have a speaker who has seen all the parliaments, who understands the dynamics of all the parliaments of the 4th Republic. There's been a need for him to address and engage with members of the media, and that's why he's extended this invitation to you. And I must say that you have showed up in a very impressive manner, and we are grateful to you for coming and joining us. As is our custom here in Parliament, we start our events with either a Christian or a Muslim prayer. In this case, we will start with a Christian prayer, and this will be offered by the Deputy Clerk in charge of Information Management Services Division, Dr. Mrs. Gloria Ekwia Kumewu. She will give us a Christian opening prayer.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you again for another day in your presence. We want to thank you for the gift of life and for bringing us this far. We give you all the glory. Even as we gather here to deliberate on issues of national importance, we give you your seat, we give you preeminence. Please have your own way and take your place. We pray that you give us the wisdom in governing this nation, that every divided heart will be mended today, that there will be healing in our nation, that we will maintain our place as a leader on the continent and in all that we do. We pray that this session will come to a successful end, that brains will be nourished, there'll be a lot of communication, there'll be a lot of discussion, and we'll all live here with one voice and with one mind, raising high the flag of Ghana. We pray that you take your place.
Dr. Kubewu with the opening prayer. The clerk to Parliament is Cyril Kwamna Otensia. He's out of the country at the moment. And when he's out, he's represented by the person that's next to him, Ebenezer Ahuma-Jetro, who is in charge of corporate and financial management services. He will welcome us to this afternoon's program.
Thank you very much, Kate. Right Honorable Speaker, colleague deputy clerks, colleagues, coordinating directors, and staff of the Parliamentary Service, other invited guests, of course, leadership of Parliament here present. I see one of the leaders walking towards the podium, Dr. Kessel Atufosin. I also see one of the whips. Welcome you to this all-important forum. As the information was rightly put out there in the public domain, Right Honorable Speaker has deemed it fit to call on you this afternoon, to all of us, some very important issues which border on matters of significant national importance. The idea of choosing this medium is in recognition of your crucial role as distinguished members of the media. In fact, let me put it this way, your constitutional role as a bridge between the organs of state, various state institutions, and the public, the bridge between them, because you are more or less the conduit and the channel through which critical information, which is used to relate such messages to the people, the good people of this country, far and wide. Various villages, hamlets, where Right Honorable Speaker and leadership will not be able to travel to, at least. You have your machinery, as it were, in place to be able to reach out to all of them. And so, Right Honorable Speaker considers it very critical, and that is why this moment is here with us. It is our expectation that this opportunity would afford all of us, the needed space to be able to appreciate in perspective a number of issues which are in the public domain. It will afford us the opportunity to be discerning enough to make intelligible judgments in furtherance of the building of this nation. I don't believe it's an opportunity to apportion blames or to put out there who is right or wrong. It is simply to give out information which is necessary for our national discourse. And in that regard, I thank you all for coming and welcome you all. I believe we will all grant him our ears. I thank you.
They say when the old lady calls you, you usually do not know what they are going to say, so you will hazard all kinds of guesses until you hear from them. Usually it would be to give you nuggets of wisdom or to caution you about a direction to head in order for you to prosper in the land of the living. Our old lady, in this case a male, has called us and we've come. And so we are going to listen to him and hear what he has to say. Please, with a round of applause, help me to welcome the Speaker of the 8th Parliament of the 4th Republic, the Right Honorable Alban S.K. Bagbin.
Please, kindly be seated. I believe I'm too young to wear the hat of an old lady. I don't have that wisdom. In welcoming all of you to this afternoon presser, and I'll do all I can to be as brief as possible. Beloved Ghanaians, democracy will work only I swore an oath to uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, and that I will do right to all manner of persons in accordance with the Constitution and the laws and conventions of Parliament, without fear or favor, affection, or ill will. Help me. I'm very confident and have faith in God to see me through. I want to start this presser by disabusing and setting the minds of Ghanaians at ease. There is no constitutional crisis in this country. I repeat, there is no constitutional crisis in this country. The Parliament of Ghana would mislead, misinform, or disinform you and the country. The democratic system we adopted and enacted, as captured in the Constitution 1992 and fleshed out in various laws, processes, procedures, and practices, is what has been triggered, and it is working. Let us allow it to work. The democratic system we adopted and enacted recognizes that in the course of operationalizing the system, disagreements will occur and challenges and problems will arise. The system has put in place mechanisms, structures and institutions, processes, procedures, and rules to follow and apply to resolve the disagreement. This is what is being pursued and applied. There is no constitutional crisis, and the people of Ghana continuously, for over 32 years as a politician, and over 42 years as a public servant, I cherish the role Parliament plays in our democracy. And my mission is to leave Parliament a stronger institution than I met it. Parliament is alive and working. It has not been dissolved, prorogued. The plenary sitting and meetings of Parliament were adjourned indefinitely due to lack of quorum to take decisions created by a walkout staged by the MPP members who were available as a result of a disagreement. The cause of the disagreement, which led to a disorder, had to be resolved with time and engagement of many more leaders than those in Parliament. The adjournment was done by the lawful authority, the Speaker of Parliament. Let us stop pressing the panic. Anger and indecent language rather inflames the situation. There can be no democracy without patience, tolerance, discipline, collaboration, the love for one another, and consensus building. Ladies and gentlemen, one may ask, what led to this disagreement? Following a statement by Honorable Dr. KCL Atuban-Forson on a matter he considered to be of urgent public importance, and comments thereof by other members, as permitted by the standing orders of Parliament, I communicated of October 2024, a ruling. The Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin disagreed vehemently with the contents of my communication as the Speaker of Parliament and proceeded to advance an earlier action he had commenced in to prevent the Speaker of Parliament from receiving and making any pronouncement on the subject matter of the statement made by Honorable Dr. KCL Atuban-Forson until the final determination of the gentleman. Being a party to the suit in my official capacity, I am mindful the suit before the Supreme Court raises not just legal questions, but more importantly, has profound implications for our democratic system of governance. At its core is the very essence and out of the court. I recognize the fact that connected political and governance implications view, this should also be vigorously articulated to give a holistic approach to resolving the issue. As one of the protagonists in this matter, to respectfully draw your attention to some of the facts, principles, and ethics of politics and parliamentary law to throw light on some aspects of the matter and to clarify the considerations that underpinned my actions. May be likened to a power play between the arms of government, democracy, authority of parliament, order, and the democratic system have toiled, sacrificed their lives, and shed blood for decades. Ladies and gentlemen, acts of the judiciary pose a direct challenge. Jurisdiction, authority, powers of the esteemed institution of Parliament, which is the repository of the sovereign will of the people of Ghana, increasingly becoming clear to weaken Parliament. Name voters in the 2020 presidential and parliamentary election is clear and loud. People, led collaborative governance, government. The majoritarian system, where the minority have a say, but the was rejected by the voters. Nation living Ghana, resulting in the composition parliament to the voters is the constitution of a parliament where the national interest as against partisan or parochial interests. This is the context and the peculiar situation. In fact, in the history of Ghana, to work with a president who belongs to a different party, to work without a majority party, but with an peace. That is, decision making has therefore not been smooth sailing. As a Speaker of Parliament, I hold in favor of the national interest, but sometimes bend backwards to accede to government requests. Government has been given the mandate to govern. Understanding, I led the board of the parliament and members of parliament to provide procedural rules to actualize this goal and to provide for the possible as envisaged in the Constitution. Election of an independent president, somebody who contests as we have now, and presidential candidate can be elected by the vote of Ghana. How is he going? By parliament. We have a minority government where the voters president, and that is a minority government for him to govern the nation. We can also have a coalition, or is a majority government. These are possible governments constitutionally guaranteed in Ghana. In the current hung parliament, the new standing orders of parliament had to cater for such a government by a number of provisions for all the other options of government that I just explained. For instance, a day which we called a decision day has been designated in consultation with the leadership of the House, will set aside to allow members of parliament to be counted in support of government members of parliament in parliament. Despite the above, often the number of government members present still don't add up due to the nature of the duties and responsibilities of ministers and deputy ministers. The NDC members of parliament, however, understood the situation and on a daily basis cooperated with the MPP members of parliament to see government business through. In spite of this, the NDC members are said to be saboteurs of government business by the MPP members of parliament and the followers of the new patriotic party. Those of you who cover proceedings on a daily basis are witnesses as to how sometimes I have to look at the members of the NDC in a very stern manner, which made them give in to their objections, just to get government business going. Ladies and gentlemen, the powers of the judiciary ends where the nose of parliament starts. The Constitution is very clear on freedom of speech and of proceedings of parliament. Grant members of parliament privileges and immunities of speech, debate, and proceedings on any matter or thing brought by a member in or before parliament by petition, bill, to articles to you. Article 115. There shall be freedom of speech. Freedom shall not be impeached or questioned in any court or place out of parliament. Article 116. Subject to the provisions of this article, but without prejudice to the general effect of Article 115 of this Constitution, civil or criminal proceedings shall not be initiated against a member or thing brought by him in or before Parliament by petition, bill, motion, or otherwise. This means happening has always been hesitant to intervene. is best the will of the people, legally and constitutionally structured and mandated to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, my dream, therefore, is a patriotic one. The existence of a firm, effective, efficient, and responsive parliament whose members place national and constituency interests ahead of narrow partisan. At last, this is yet to materialize in Ghana. Parliament weakens itself when its members keep running to our courts to settle or seek favorable determinations of not just legal matters, but essentially political and governance questions. It is my strong belief the matter before the Supreme Court can be settled within Parliament through matured deliberations and compromises. Please, make no mistake. Not all, some come dressed in suits. I hope in my lifetime, or Flagstaff House, or any headquarters in the conduct of parliamentary business, duty to the people who established and elected its members to serve and represent them. The wheels of Parliament will continue to turn, and no person will be allowed to disrupt parliamentary proceedings or to undermine the democratic mandate of Parliament. When I ruled in January 2021 on the issue of which side constitutes majority and minority in Parliament, the ruling was in favor of the majority group then. It was not an act of lawlessness as to cause constitutional crisis. When I ruled in the matter of Honorable Sarah Adjoa Safo, the question of the interpretation of the Constitution was not raised. In provisions of Article 97, the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to interpret and enforce provisions of the Constitution was not invoked. Peace reigned in these instances. If I may ask, is it a legal matter for the Supreme Court to decide as to which side of the House constitutes the majority or minority? It is for good reason that justice is said to be blind, and further, that justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done in all cases, not in only those cases. Fellow Ghanaians, I respectfully call on the Supreme Court to apply the refusal to receive the Human Rights and Family Values Bill passed by Parliament, which has been pending before the same court for almost a year without being heard. Ladies and gentlemen, consistency is not just an ideal, but the foundation of life. The court but was very eager to deny the constituents of Asin North their representation because of the issue of allegiance. The court cannot deny the constituents of Sal the sanctity of representation for years. The court cannot even see that the Constitution itself permits a denial of representation within 3 months to the holding of a general election. It's in the Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, The Parliament of Ghana, November 7th, 2024. I have earlier instructed the Clerk to Parliament to transmit the LGBTQ plus bill to the President for assent. Business the government wants to transact through Parliament. And I'm willing to cooperate and collaborate with government. Despite all that I have said, Ghana first. And all Ghanaians should bear the President, Parliament, the judiciary, and all our leaders in prayer for the betterment of our people and country.
The Right Honourable Speaker of the 8th Parliament with the Director's press conference, and he will now take questions from members of the media. We will take them in tranches of 4. Please, brevity is the name of the game. So you get up, you tell us your name, your media house, and then your question. In order for us to get as many questions in as possible, one man, one machete. And please, the preambles, let's just use them. The Director of Media Relations will assist in this particular endeavor.
Ibrahim Al-Hassan, I report for GH1 TV and Star FM. Okay, so one man, one question. Mr. Speaker, I just want a clarity. Have you re-instructed the clerk to resubmit the Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill to the presidency, or you relating to the old instruction you gave, which was rejected during the transmission?
My name is Kwame Minka, TVXYZ Power FM. My question is simple. So tomorrow, as Parliament, what we've been hearing is that the minority then has its majority, and would they remain as such, or there will be a shift? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Kweku Asante from Joy News and Joy FM. Mr. Speaker, during the proceedings in court, the Attorney General had cause to say that you had committed a crime by illegally procuring the services of Mr. Sori in litigating those matters in the Supreme Court. Specifically, he puts out a letter that has been signed by the PPA CEO rejecting a sole source procurement that you wanted to do as regards to Mr. Sori. Please, can you respond to the specifics and allegations that you had committed a crime in that regard?
My name is Havila Kekeli, Class FM. Right Honourable Speaker, there have been several occasions where members of Parliament sometimes, through disagreement with some of your rulings or pronouncements on the floor, use certain words at you. How do you feel about some of these things?
Mr. Speaker, we will respectfully take a 5th one. We'll take a 5th one because of the brevity of the question, so that we can get as many questions in.
Thank you very much. My name is Hon Alban S.K, and I report for GBC Online. Just to reiterate the point earlier made by my colleague. Speaker, as we speak today, the media, we are somehow confused. You address MP as a minority leader and or a majority leader. You are told that, please, that's not my title. Or they'll just cut the line. Please, can you settle this debate for us? Who is the majority leader today in Parliament?
The Right Honourable Speaker.
These are very interesting questions. The first one is easy. It's a fresh instructions to the clerk to Parliament. to resubmit the bill to the president. I'll leave it at that. The second one, please, it's not part of the duties of a speaker to decide where, in Ghana's situation, in various parliaments, these things we are talking about, majority side, minority side, don't exist any longer. That's why in my ruling I use the term old school. The British model, government, opposition, benches, and a carpet in between them. And so when you are shifting your political lineage, you have to cross that carpet to the other side. And that is why you have the term carpet crossing. Opposition. And Ghana don't like the term opposition. So we decided to adopt the terms from the United States of America, majority and minority. So you can even sit anywhere. But the numbers determine who is majority and who is minority. But in our parliament, the practice is for those who constitute majority to sit at the right side of the speaker, and those who constitute minority to sit at the left side of the speaker. That is because after independence in 1957, we adopted the Westminster system, which is practiced in the United Kingdom. But we changed that, even to the extent that the arrangement of the floor of the House is in a horseshoe. So it's not always the case that the people to the left side are all members of minority. That's not the case now. And there's good reason behind this as to who constitute majority or minority. It's a question of numbers. Who influence who should lead the caucus or party wing in parliament? They, after various consultations, decide that front. Then in consultation with them, the 5 leaders, they determine who should sit behind them. Because as a leader, you need somebody that you have trust, confidence in, who has the capacity, so that when you are in some difficulty or you have a challenge, you can just lean over and listen to his or her whisper. So you have a say as to who sits behind you. The speaker is not involved in this. The whips, particularly the chief whips, lead in trying to identify who should sit behind. And it also has to do with years of experience in the House, and also the issue of gender and other professional backgrounds, until you get to those who are at the back. Even though we don't sit on benches, we still use the term backbenchers. The speaker is not involved in this. After they have agreed on it, they then get in touch with the parliamentary service through the clerk, who will get his officer at the table, together with the marshal, and they will get the names, print them, and place them on the various tables as decided by the various caucuses. The speaker don't come in this. Please. How can you call speaker to come and decide where people should sit? It's not part of my duties. Number 3. I will plead with you. Go and look at that letter. He's the Attorney General. He did his service in Parliament here. I was leader then. Yes. when he was doing his service here. Yes. So I know him very well before he became Attorney General. Read that letter carefully. And that's one of the things they are missing. There's vast difference between Parliament as an institution and the office of the Speaker. The Speaker is the party before the Supreme Court, not Parliament. So as Speaker, when the Attorney General is taking a different position from my position, I should still contract him as my counsel. I will leave it at that. Once I'll meet the Attorney General, and I'll tell him my peace of mind on some legal issues and pronouncements he made at the Supreme Court. You know, Attorney Generals must be respected as learned. But it should not be part of what Obama referred to. Not me. It will not work. Number 4. Half of the terms they use against me is part of the hazards of the work. We're doing everything as leaders, not to bring up our youth to believe that indecent, intemperate, insulting, and offensive language is the way to go. But people interpret freedom of speech to mean that freedom of speech without responsibility. You can just use any word. But you know how offensive it is to you yourself or your parents when it's used against your father or mother. But for me, what I believe in is that you reap what you sow. That one, nobody can run away from it. I think the last question I answered clear to all of you. It's not a function or duty of the Speaker.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. We will take the next tranche. I see Ahmed, the Director of Media Relations, is working to do that. Again,
thank you very much.
Your name?
My name is Ahmed Usman Khalid, Imam Zakaria, Gurguruwe. No, I have to pick the Constitution. Please, I bet mine. Yes. Can you open Article 1 or 2? I just want to quote what the Chief Justice read in Supreme Court in the absence. My name is Ahmed Usman Khalid, Imam Zakaria Gurguruwe. Oh, a freelance journalist, not from MPP headquarters, please. My school fees was paid by the Speaker, so. 2. Yeah. I just want to read what the Chief Justice read in the absence of the Speaker. I didn't want to paraphrase, I just want to read. Article 2. She says this way. 1, a person who alleges, I'll leave all and come to surplus 4. Failure to obey or carry out the term of an order or direction made or given under the clause 2 of the article in this Constitution commits a high crime under this Constitution and shall, in the case of the President or the Vice President, constitute a ground for removal from office under this Constitution. Right Honourable Speaker, this was read before an open court, Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court was saying, others, failure is that she's going to apply Article 2, Clause 4 on you. That even the president or the vice president, if they go contrary, or if they refuse, have you gone contrary to the Supreme Court orders, ruling, or judgment? Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Evans Otsulabi from TV SYZ and Power FM. Mr. Speaker, we want to know whether the 4 seats which were declared vacant still remain vacant.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Simon again. I report for the Accra Times. In one of the interviews, former Majority Leader, Honorable Chairman, had with Joy News, he said after your predecessor, former Speaker Michael K, gave the ruling in 2020, he disagreed with former Speaker Michael K, and you supported his stance. I want to find out why did you go back to support your former predecessor when you expressed disagreement with his earlier ruling? Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. My name is George A.C. and I'm with Ghana Web. What is your instruction to the clerk and those who are responsible? Are they going to be allowed to come into Parliament or no?
Thank you very much, Rather Honorable Speaker. My name is Nana Kweku Bofa, and I work with Opimso Radio in Menchia, Kumasi. Speaker, you have been accused of... Speaker, I want to know, did you do so? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director. I think we've taken the fifth one. And so, Mr. Speaker may answer the 5 questions with Kweku Bofa's on web. Mr. Speaker.
Well, you're talking about the same matter using different words. But that is before the Supreme Court. And I've given instructions to my lawyers to handle that. So that is not a matter for me to comment on. My lawyers are handling that. So all questions we're dealing with those issues before the court will allow the court to handle that. What I would draw your attention to is that the practice and procedure of Parliament is unknown to many, including the court. And anything I do on the floor, I refer to the standing orders. The courts can declare the standing orders as unconstitutional or unlawful or whatever. Until that is done, as the presiding officer, I'm bound, in practice, apply those rules. And that is what we did. That is why in my statement, I drew your attention to the fact that what I did on the floor was just share. And by the standing orders, I have options. Could have set up a committee to go through it and submit a report. That report could even lead to legislation. Or I could go and inquire into it myself and then come and inform the House of my findings. That is in the standing orders. In our parliamentary practice, you don't make ruling when statements are made. It was debatable. And because of its importance, I had to give room for many more members to comment. Just inquire into it, come and share with the House in the form of information what your findings revealed. And that was all what I did. I did not make any order. Go and read the proceedings. I did not make any order. And for my friend, the veritable Honorable Oseche Mensah Bonsu, I'm sure he showed you the evidence where we had that discussion. He disagreed, and I supported him, and now I have made a U-turn. I thought you should have asked him when my predecessor made the ruling, whether his side disagreed with him and allowed the same member, who is now second deputy speaker, to continue to sit, or his seat was vacated. Did they agree with him or disagree with him? You should have asked him. So that one, he will need to produce evidence to show that this is what happened. I don't know where we sat and held a discussion, or it's only disagreed with my predecessor. That is for you to make your findings on. And what's the last question? I answered all. Yes. That's it.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. We'll take 2 more tranches and then we'll be done. We're doing well so far. The Director of Media Relations is still going around with the microphones.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. You said the President and the Judiciary have sinned against the... My name is Hon Alban S.K. I work with Adom FM and Adom TV. Now, you said the things or the acts they have done that will constitute, in your opinion, sin against the Constitution.
Good afternoon, Right Honourable Speaker. My name is Nia Ikuoka. I work for City FM and Channel 1 TV. Now, Article 112, Clause 3 of the Constitution, as well as the Standing Orders 53, have been invoked by the NPP caucus for the 3rd time this year, whenever you adjourn the House indefinitely. Now, we want to find out, is this an abuse of that provision, and what has been its impact on other legislative processes? Thank you.
My name is Emmanuel Akoli of Peace FM. Speaker, a number of people have described this 8th Parliament as being and what is happening currently. Mr. Speaker, how do you see this Parliament? Are you proud of the 8th Parliament? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. My name is Kwabena Efrain Martin. I report for Original TV and Original FM. Mr. Speaker, I would like to know what influenced your decision of adjourning Parliament Synodai the last time we had our sittings, and what will be your decision if the same situation which happened the last sittings continue tomorrow?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Clement Akolo. I report for Parliamentary News 360. I also double as the Communication Officer for Parliamentary Network Africa. Mr. Speaker, you mentioned that both the President and the judiciary have sinned. And when you look at Article 122 of the Constitution, it talks about contempt of Parliament. So if they have sinned, do they fall far of the contempt of Parliament, and what are you going to do about it? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ben. I think that's the 5th question for this tranche. I get the feeling that this could be the last one. Am I right, colleagues? Mr. Speaker, with your kind permission, if you may answer the 5 questions that have been referred to.
The two of you raised
question about the sinning of the president and the judiciary. Please go through the Constitution or the laws of Ghana. There is nowhere where the president can refuse to receive a bill passed by Parliament. In fact, the crafters of the Constitution are so careful that they even took away veto power from the president. So in Ghana, our president cannot veto a bill passed by Parliament. It's clear in the Constitution that the president will receive the bill passed by Parliament. If he has concerns, he will communicate to Parliament that I have concerns on this bill that you have passed within 7 days. Then he has 14 days to put across those concerns back to Parliament, and Parliament is called upon to reconsider the bill, taking his inputs into consideration. That is what is in the Constitution and the laws of Ghana. So if the president refuses to even receive the bill, what has he done to the Constitution? You understand? 2, in the Constitution, the president is permitted to refer the bill to the Council of State for advice. He didn't even do that. So the term I even used is very mild. In the case of the judiciary, a bill is a bill. It's not law. It's just a bill. This is a draft that is being discussed. The judiciary is going to do what? Be part of the law-making process. Tell us what to do in the bill. It's only when it's passed and assented to by the president, then it becomes law, that the judiciary can come in to interpret and enforce. There's nothing like that. And this is something that immediately, with supersonic speed, it should have been jettisoned, not entertained at all by the court. Now, what it means is that anytime any bill is before us, and we are working on it at this stage, anybody can just take it to the court. And that will mean that Parliament will have to stop and wait until the final determination of what? What are they to determine? Please. We are doing this for Ghana, and not for only today's generation, for generations yet unborn. That gives certainty to everybody. That is the rule of law that prevails, not of man, or the rule by law. The two are not the same. When you rule by law, people are not certain of the law. And so even investors run away. And as a leader for so many years, from 2001, I've been a leader. I can mention so many serious investors who say they will not invest in Ghana because of uncertainty of the law. And then the courts and the system cannot tell you what the law is. And they lose a lot.
So when you talk about unemployment, underdevelopment, and the rest, now who caused them? Leadership, I believe strongly, is cause. Everything else is effect. Even though followers matter, of the president, when in his inaugural speech, he talked about us being citizens, are now more spectators than citizens. I think you have to wake up. I don't have any ill will or malice. Please, that one, I can assure you, I'll go and relax. And my holy village is where I take the decisions and I'm responsible. Nobody else but me. That's why I started with my oath. I swore the oath. And at the end of the day, when I'm to account for my life to my Creator, nobody is to do that with me. I'll be alone. And I'll be there. Those of you who will come later. Because I believe in life after death. In fact, we are even told that place is better than here. So I have no problem with dying. I'm always prepared anytime to die. But you will come after that. And you will come and meet me there. Eh? I'll tell you what seniority means.
The Right Honorable Speaker shall live to tell of the good works of the Lord.
Hey, there's one on
oh, okay. I have indications that there are some two critical questions. So
yeah,
maybe after that, yes, then we can quickly go away.
Oh, recall. I can say it's an abuse. The Constitution permits them to do what they do. It's just that, please, don't only think about today. Also think about tomorrow when you are doing some of these things. And for me, as I sit here, I thought the focus of those in government shall be about government business, not even the position they occupy. Which is more important? It's government business. And for the position you occupy, if you work well, you may even get a higher position. Eh? It's the good people of Ghana who will decide. So I'm surprised that some people are focused on that one. But tomorrow, you will hear from me. So far, it's transformatory. In fact, this is a parliament. I've been from the 1st to the 8th. The 1st was foundational. And the late Right Honorable Justice Daniel Annan had to use all his experience and wisdom to establish the parliament. And so he started by transforming the rules that we inherited from the 79 to 81 parliament. That's the Third Republic. And also putting the structures and personnel in place, creating the opportunity for further training, education, and the rest. He did that. The second parliament, led by the second speaker, I should say.
Second speaker, third parliament.
To strengthen the institution of parliament. And you recall sometimes he had some rough edges with the president. No wonder he lasted for 4 years only. The fourth was trying to stabilize. The third speaker. And that was Right Honorable Ebenezer Sechi Hughes. I worked with all of them. The fifth came, and that was Bamford, of course, on the rule.
my deputy leader when I. So he used his experience, particularly their dealings at the Parliament, and then his experience, particularly their dealings at the Parliament, and then our professor came, who in the 1990s used to come to the workshop of Parliament, University of Ghana, in their house. And as became speaker, sit down and just put the question, and you are sure the eyes have it. And so most of the time, there is no day that I will go and preside without calling the leaders to my lobby for us to go through the agenda of the day, which is usually captured on what? The order paper, yellow. This is what is on the paper, cut from the business statement. How do we handle it? Then the leaders will tell me those that they agree, those that they disagree. Even when they disagree, how do we handle it? We discuss all that. Okay, how many from each side of the house? We discuss that. How many minutes per person? We discuss that. Then I just come to preside and enforce what we have discussed. That is why it's difficult for us to be sitting at 10. Because sometimes I have to get them to make sure that there's some peace before we go out there. This is what we do on a daily basis. I just don't come and preside and impose my ideas. Even when you go to voting, we agree. We will oppose. If you give ayes during the voice vote, we will challenge your decision. We will count heads. We will do secret voting. We will not allow public voting. We discuss all this. And so even so, the discussion at that period, when leaders go on air and go and reveal those conclave confidential information, what is that meant to achieve? I should not invite them to discuss things with them again. And what will happen on the floor? In spite of all that, for 4 good years, people are still not appreciative. And I am the target. Hey, this is my God. Hey, he's a living God. Oh. So please.
Mr. Speaker, we are live on GH1, GBC.
Oh, you are live.
And I would crave your indulgence that we take. I've seen some crucial questions that I think must be asked so that we can round up, so that they don't surcharge us for spending too much of their live airtime. And so we'll take the final tranche of questions, and then we will bring proceedings to a close. Very quickly, name, media house, question, no preamble.
Thank you very much. My name is Ernest Kofiedu. I work with the Daily Guide newspaper. Right Honorable Speaker, at the last agenda date, you said that because of the issue of composition and that of the fact that Parliament had the correct number to do business, but didn't have the correct number to undertake decision. You are recalling the House tomorrow. Can you tell us whether these issues have been addressed and whether there has been meeting between yourself and the leadership of the House such that tomorrow's recall will also not degenerate into that?
Mr. Speaker, good afternoon. My name is Prince Asari from Pen TV. In your speech, you just said that the Supreme Court to deal with conflicts that happen in the House, and you believe that that wouldn't help. Now we are having a conflict now, and I want to know that you have been doing this for many years. So how can...
My name is Isaac Ando, a freelance journalist. Internally, through dialogue and compromises.
We are around, we can... No Jara, No Jara questions. But I must also indicate that, Mr. Speaker, that TV, GH1 TV, and I think, is it TV? They're all live. So today's been one of the days that we've had the most live coverage.
I'm extremely grateful to the media for this coverage. Yes. Without the media, we wouldn't have gone this far. So, congratulations. We can always disagree, but once we have agreed to disagree as part of our life, it's permitted. There's no problem with that. Please, as to what will happen tomorrow, I don't see the young man again. Oh, you are the ones friends after you walked out. And would they, even if they did, would they not go and raise an issue about quorum to take decision? So that was option. I could have decided to adjourn till the next day. But knowing the nature, one night, no. Because I've seen that the nature of the disagreement goes beyond the house to the powers outside the house. And so we needed to engage many more people to be able to resolve the disagreement. So you need more time. And since I couldn't estimate the time, I decided Parliament could be recalled. If people were mindful that there's some agency for us to resolve it, they would have come together faster for us to talk, negotiate things, resolve it, and come back. But I tell you, apart from some senior citizens, patrons of the country, who actually got in touch, the MPP members have not gotten in touch with me. They haven't. My good friend Oseche Mensah Bonsu spoke to me because he wasn't even around when this thing happened. And we discussed this and I threw more light on it. And he said, oh, he didn't know before granting interviews. He said those things, but now he can also say, I should bring my official report, you know. And so I don't know what will happen tomorrow. Understand? And so that is the situation now. The last question. Proposal. Well, am I now to propose it to you and Ghanaians? Or I should have been making the proposals to the parties so that they can be negotiating and compromising? I think that's the best way to do. And I'm expecting to get in touch with me, I think was Apostle Nyamiche and the boss of the Christ Apostolic Church. They were the first to come to express concern and we had a lengthy discussion, you know. Then later, a delegation of the Council of State also came to meet me in their office. And when I explained all the situation to them, in fact, many of them told them and said they could cross-check from the proceedings or other this. They were really surprised because they didn't know that was what took place. There was so much misinformation. The judgment of the court will set a lot of precedents. But don't forget, the law is that the Supreme Court can always differ from its end. So for a purpose, I can give a judgment and ruling. I disagree with that, and that is permitted by law. So when you tell me that it means that the Supreme Court is supreme, and so when it orders, I must obey. I'm a lawyer by profession.
And the first time I appeared in the Supreme Court was 1983. Going there now we're born, but it's okay. The last one is when I was young, I think there was some song, it's too late to say that. When I needed you to satisfy my soul, you turn your back and said.
Now, I think we should add singer to Mr. Speaker's because the skills, but and so I think that you'd all agree with me that we've had a very fruitful good afternoon. Mr. Speaker, may I also acknowledge that Daily Graphic Online, Class FM, Channel 1 TV, Onua TV and FM, news@gh.com is grateful. As we bring proceedings to a close, Mohammed Nyagzi will give us the closing prayer. But before that, the Deputy Clerk in charge of Legislative Management, Camilo Puamang, will officially thank us, and then Mohammed will thank Allah, and then Mr. Speaker will take leave of us.
Thank you, program. Right Honorable Speaker, the leadership of the House here in present, and colleague Deputy. Yes, on behalf of the Right Honorable Speaker, let me thank our friends from the media. He indicated that Ghana first. He said Ghana first. He believes in the fidelity of the. He also encouraged us that what the people of Ghana said for us is for collaboration, cooperation, and for all of us to work together to ensure that democracy succeeds. Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to speak to the people of Ghana, to set the record straight, to let people understand that Parliament will continue to sit. Parliament will sit 6 January 2025. The House. We say thank you to all of you for attending this important program. Thank you very much.
Also for going live.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. We pray that this important message delivered to the country will promote peace so that we can live together as a great country, which is the general elections, so that the country will remain as one united country, working together in the name of the Almighty Allah and the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والصلاة والسلام.
Coordinating Director in charge of research. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Mr. Speaker and his entourage and members of Parliament will leave first, and then the rest of us will follow. So please, let's be seated. Let's all remain seated while Mr. Speaker and the big men and women leave. Then we will follow.
Good afternoon and welcome to GBC News and welcome to the press conference. And for some time now, there's been a lot of headlines, Parliament dominating the headlines for some time now. And so this afternoon, the Speaker took the opportunity to address some of the issues we're hearing in the media. And so from this press conference, actually, the major issue that came out of it is the fact that Parliament will reconvene tomorrow. The correspondent here, and then we'll be having a quick chat. Hi, my brother. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Gifty.
Yes, and we've heard a lot this afternoon. Yeah. We heard a lot. But the big issue that came out of this whole press conference was the fact that the parliamentarians will be sitting tomorrow. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I believe it's very such a media engagement. Normally what happens is that when Parliament sits on a daily basis, there's an avenue for the Speaker to communicate to the House. If he has gotten any letter from the President, whatever it is, he communicates. But it doesn't give the platform for scrutiny. It doesn't give the platform for the media to even ask questions. And it's very hard to have a serving Speaker being interviewed. And so this has been a good platform, especially in the times that we are in, that we will need clarity. And if for preliminary purposes, I think the Speaker is the embodiment of the institution Parliament in Ghana's governance process. And so he addressing the press now has been very, very opportune, and we see it as a good step.
One issue that also caught my attention was the fact that the Speaker was not too happy about the fact that a law courts, to him, they have the necessary procedures and processes to handle such, issues like that.
Yes, is that Parliament is a master of its own rules, and the House is built on consensus, especially in this current dispensation. And we also note that this Parliament has been one of the biggest tests to the Constitution and the fidelity of the law, because the Constitution is meant to be, the law is meant to be tested by the people. And so issues like these are, in as much as the declaration of a seat vacant prior to an election and all that. And so I feel those going to court have been able to test the Constitution and are testing the Constitution. But I think, like the Speaker said, on many instances, the House and the two sides judge with the Speaker every day through pre-sitting meetings and all that. And so it would have also been good for us to handle this. But here is, for news purposes, they are also giving us content, and they are giving the nation an education, because if they had handled it in-house, we will not be here where we are and will not be able to have all this audience that we are getting.
I'm curious to know what will happen in Parliament tomorrow. Would you want to speculate?
No.
What's likely to happen tomorrow?
Well, I wouldn't want to hazard or speculate, but I believe that even the sitting happening tomorrow would be as a result of some members appending their signatures to a petition to call on the Speaker to recall the House from recess. 15% of members appending their signatures to a petition for the need for a recall. And so, tomorrow I don't see any chaos happening. That's one word the Speaker noted from the beginning, from the onset, after he noted that in his oath to the office and oath to the nation, he pledged his allegiance to the Constitution and to defend the Constitution, and that is what he's doing. And again, to stress that the Parliament is not in crisis. Parliament is not in crisis. And so tomorrow, I believe, tempers will cool down. Tomorrow I don't expect a showdown. Mind you, government is expected to also present a budget for the first quarter of next year. And members of the NPP caucus who are with government and who ostensibly will be aiding the finance minister to present the budgets would need the buy-in of the NDC caucus to approve the budget and do other government businesses. So I don't think, we'll have that posture. If anyone wants to prove a point, I think the points are being proved already. And so, yeah.
Thank you so much, my brother Augustus. And Augustus is one of our parliamentary correspondents here. And so, like we brought you earlier, we brought you the press conference of the Speaker, and this had to do with issues happening in Parliament to the point of even one of the issues ending up in the Supreme Court. But the good news is that the Speaker is saying that Parliament is going to resume sitting tomorrow, and so they can continue with government business and ensure that, you know, we continue with our democracy and, of course, development in this country. My name is Gifty AG, and we brought you the live proceedings in Parliament here in Accra. Back to you, Soyoko, for the rest of the production.
Thank you very much, Gifty and Augustus, with that report. And just gone by is the media engagement by the Speaker of Parliament. So